We don't have Steve tonight, so let's just, Wisdom, you're on the audio tonight, good stuff.
Okay, I can hear them already. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:01. Can I have a moment of silence, please? Stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Here.
Ms. Catherine Blystein?
Here.
Mr. Bromhall? Ms. Falconero?
Here.
Mrs. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Meeker?
Here.
Mrs. Trompe?
Here.
Ms. Fitzwater? Here. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on the following dates: January 17, 2024, and January 8, 2025. We're going to go to Section 4, Routine Business. We have the Board Secretary's report for December of '24, the Treasurer's report for December of '24, the receipts and appropriation adjustments for December of '24, the monthly transfer report for December of '24, the high school activities report for January of 2025, the food service management cost performance statement for January of ‑25, the certified bill list as of 2/12 of '25, and the approval of minutes, the reorg minutes revised for January 7th, the regular minutes for January 21st, and the executive session minutes for January 21st. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 4, routine business items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 5, routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of February 14th of '25, the health report from January of '25, the fire alarm report from January of '25, the crisis drill report from January of '25, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you, members of the board, and thank you, members of the public, for being here with us this evening. It is once again that I find myself in a position to begin my remarks on a somber note this evening. 2 weeks ago, our Cinnaminson facilities team lost a beloved member of our family. Our district electrician, Mr. Jim Hensel, passed away suddenly, leaving a void for his family at home and for his family here in the district. Jim was a dedicated member of our team who quite literally lit up the room. He worked tirelessly through his last days. Where in his last act as a district employee, he was a part of the team that completed 2 new pre-K rooms. At the beginning of each meeting, we share a moment of silence, and I know this evening I was thinking about Jim. If everyone would please join me in one additional moment of silence as we reflect upon Jim, his family, and the legacy he left in our district. Thank you. With that, transition to some thank yous to some members of our district. First and foremost, to Ms. DiClemente and all of her helper team from here at the middle school. Ms. DeSimone can attest that we held a fantastic senior supper. Thank you to Mrs. Blystein for being in attendance. Many members of our senior community were here to take part in an event that featured delicious soups, salads, and bread, all prepared by a team of staff members here at the middle school and a dedicated group of parent volunteers who seem to keep getting drafted into the event year after year. I'd also like to thank and recognize the members of our music department. On the 4th of February, we celebrated District Band Day, and on the 11th, District Choir Day. It's a unique thing that we're able to do here in this district, where essentially our students articulate with one another, where our younger students have an opportunity to perform with the older students at the middle school and middle school with the high school, and get a chance to see what they can look forward to when they progress through the years in the arts department. We're really fortunate to have such great professionals on our teaching staff to help facilitate that. This past February 15th, even though it was a weekend, was SRO Appreciation Day, and I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to recognize our hardworking members of the Cinnaminson Police Department who are here with us in our school. So at Memorial School, Officer Roger Moore, the New Albany School, Officer Tom Lillicore. At the Rush School, Officer Tom Campbell. At the middle school, Officer Rick Gunning. And at the high school, Officer Mark Williams. We thank them for their dedicated service on behalf of our students and staff every day. We're getting to spring musical season, even though it does start in the winter. Put in an early plug for the debut of The Little Mermaid. February 28th opens up at Cinnaminson High School under the direction of Megan Schweitzer. They're doing 6 shows in total, so best of luck to all of the staff members who are involved in that production, and certainly to all of the students, the cast, and crew. I would like to welcome area seniors, these are residents of Cinnaminson, to a senior event that we're having in conjunction with the Saturday matinee on March 8th. Look out for an invitation from my office to attend at 1 o'clock ahead of the show for a coffee, cookies, and conversations senior social event, and then, of course, to stay and enjoy The Little Mermaid. Also, I'll put in an early plug because it does debut before our next board meeting, March 14th, right here at Cinnaminson Middle School. On that stage behind me will be the debut of Beauty and the Beast. We are trending Disney this year, and that should be another fantastic production. Best of luck to all of the students who are involved in that. And then much, much later, I'm sure we'll get another plug or two, but I would be remiss and hear from Miss Kelly if I did not also plug the 2nd annual Rush musical of Willy Wonka, which will debut, I believe, May 21st. So we'll look forward to that as well. To all of my fellow board members, I am hopeful that you'll be able to attend the Future Chefs competition, which will be held just ahead of the board meeting on March 18th for our new board members. This is one you want to circle on the calendar with a big heart. It's a great event where some of our students from Rush School will lend their culinary talents, and we get to judge, which means we get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And as always, a great event sponsored by our partners in food services, Sodexo. And I wanted to give the public and the board a little bit of an update on where we stand with early childhood education here in Cinnaminson. You may have seen dribs and drabs come out over social media, through district announcements, emails from my office, but I thought this was an opportune time to share with the public where we're at in our efforts for early childhood. As you may or may not know, on February 3rd, we were delighted to open 2 new classrooms for 30 students aged 3 and 4 right here in Cinnaminson. And I want to extend my thank you to the board for their continued commitment to expanding high-quality early childhood education. We are excited to continue our pursuit for additional funding from the state to secure additional pre-K slots in the next school year. And in order to maximize state funding, the district is pursuing a number of public-private partnerships in the community. You've heard me sit here before and talk about some of our square footage limitations. Well, obviously, that plays into what we're able to do in-house for pre-K as well. So we're presently seeking local partnership providers with right here in Cinnaminson. We've had conversations with Cinnamon Sticks, Newman Learning Center, and Temple Sinai. And given the demand for pre-K, we're also expanding our options to our neighboring communities who are close in proximity to the district borders, and have begun conversations with providers in Riverton and Delran as well, to hopefully offer as many spots as possible to area parents of 3- and 4-year-olds who live in the district. And so the public is aware the requirements for pre-K space are some of the most stringent that the Department of Education imposes. These requirements include a 950 square feet of learning spaces and an in-class bathroom. And we have very few of those facilities in our district that would meet these requirements, and many of our private providers do not have these as well. That said, there are options to the district and to the private providers as well. So we're currently working with the Department of Education and the Executive County Superintendent and Business Official to seek waivers for some of the spaces in our local community, so that we're hopefully able to overcome an additional barrier to expansion. And with that, if the public or members of the board have any questions related to pre-K, I would encourage you to contact my office, and I'd be happy to talk about this latest and greatest venture from Cinnaminson Schools. So with that, that is the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 5, routine matters, items A through E?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Falconero. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, student representative reports. First, we'll hear from our high school student representative, Gwen Chikonsky.
Good evening, everyone. The Golden Apple Award for January was presented to Mr. Dan Matz by Nina Souza and Brandon Smith. The students of the month for January for the class of 2025 is Olivia Marinelli, class of 2026, Willow Herbert, class of 2027, Cameron Barry, class of 2028, Catherine Bonsteel. The athletes of the month for January are senior Kellen Kohler and junior Dominic Marino. An update on winter sports. The boys wrestling team defeated Palmyra by a score of 70-11 most recently. This Friday, the team hosts Morristown for senior night at 5:15. The girls wrestling team ended their dual meet season with 2 matches against Delsey and Lindenwold. Hannah Bottomer and Riley Evans become the first pair to reach 20 wins in a season. The team looks forward to regions on February 23rd at Absegami. For swimming, on Saturday, January 25th, the team placed 5th out of the 25 teams at the SJISA Coaches Invitational. At that meet, Tessa Devone qualified for the NJSIA Meet of Champions in the 50 freestyle. In a major upset on February 6th, the team defeated number 3 seed Rumson Fairhaven in the second round of the playoffs. The winter track team had a great season and is now preparing for the championship season. Kellen Kohler has twice broken the school record in the 800, most recently at the Penn Relays Winter Showcase on February 1st. Running 2:21.45, Eddie Frey has equaled his school record in the pole vault after battling injuries and sickness in early January. The girls' pole vault relay and boys' distance relay took 6 at the Group 2 state relays. The team has 2 more meets ahead of the sectional championship on February 15th and the Group 2 state meet a week later. The team is hoping to advance as many as possible to the Meet of Champions scheduled for March 2nd. For bowling, junior Ian Jungblatt and senior Chase Long both reached their career milestone of 10,000 varsity pins. Senior Noah Jaquette achieved the milestone of 20,000 career pins. Sophomore Alana Miller and junior Alana Malov and senior Frankie Romay achieved career milestones of 10,000 pins. In the BCSL Open, the boys team earned a silver medal, finishing second with a score of 2,803. Ian Jungblatt earned a bronze for third place high series, and Abby Gordon captured gold for girls high game. The boys basketball team hosted senior night on the 13th along with the girls. They beat Pemberton 88-65. Their record is currently 12-11. The girls basketball team had their senior night on the 13th as a doubleheader with the boys team. Avis and Lavage reached the milestone of 1,000 career points. They beat Pemberton 78-27. Their record is currently 18-7. Student Council hosted the second annual CHS Super Bowl of Caring, and it ended on Friday, February 7th with a grand total of 269 cans of soup. Congratulations to Ms. Orfano's second period class with a donation of 94 cans of soup. They will receive a bagel breakfast on Friday, February 14th, hosted by the Student Council. Thank you to everyone who participated in this event. All soup was donated to the Food Bank of South Jersey. In second place, Mr. Kesson with 45 cans, and in third place, Chef Kane with 43 cans. CHS Drama Club is excited to present The Little Mermaid for 6 performances. Our show dates are February 28th at 7:30 p.m., March 1st at 2 p.m. and 7:30 p.m., March 7th at 7:30 p.m., and March 8th at 2 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. We are looking forward to seeing you there to support the hard work of our cast, crew, and pit. The Pirates Cove CHS Student Store has received School-Based Enterprise Gold Certification status for 2025. The business manual was crafted by Cinnaminson DECA's Vice President of CBE, Tabitha Brickley. This year's manual exceeded expectations in all 11 categories, which is quite an accomplishment for Tabitha. Interact officers went to a Rotary luncheon on January 30th and met with the Morristown Rotary and other schools that are sponsored by Morristown Rotary for a roundtable discussion, sharing events from each school. Along with the Cinnaminson Diversity and Student Council, Interact sponsored a winter coat collection for shelters in Trenton. Casino night will be held on Friday, February 21st in the high school cafeteria from 7 to 9 p.m. The students from the Asian American Pacific Islander Affinity Group celebrated Lunar New Year by visiting the kindergarten classes at New Albany School. The students taught the kindergartners the importance of Lunar New Year to various Asian cultures and read the story Friends Are Friends Forever. Afterwards, the AAPI students returned to enjoy fellowship and a traditional rice cake soup eaten by Koreans on Lunar New Year. Congratulations to our mathletes on an outstanding season. The team finished strong, earning third place in the Burlington County League. A special shout out to Brendan Frada, who placed third among top scorers. Congratulations to the mock trial team who competed in the Burlington County competition. The team went 1-3, prevailing in a trial against Palmyra High School. The team did not prevail in close matchups with Rancocas Valley, Morristown, and Bordentown. Special recognition goes out to four-year team member senior Danny Garced, who argued her 5th career trial as an attorney. The team gained a lot of experience this year. Next year's team looks promising with 3 veteran attorneys and 8 experienced witnesses. The NHS held their annual blood drive on January 31st, 2025. We had many positive donations to the Red Cross. We're so grateful for the community members, faculty, and students who made the day such a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. And we'll now hear from the middle school student representative, Noah Bundy.
Good evening to all of you. I would first like to report our January students of the month. Our middle school students for January were 6th grader Bree Garcino, 7th grader Madison Ashman, and 8th grader Nolan Ginian. The faculty member of the month was Mrs. Monica Leon Guerrero in class support ESP. Congratulations to all. Spring sports will begin the second week of March. We had many events planned for February. CMS hosted the Super Supper for Cinnaminson's senior citizens on Wednesday, February 5th at 5 p.m. in the cafeteria. The students assisted seniors into the cafeteria and helped them with soup selections, salad, coffee, and dessert. All of the Cinnaminson seniors that attended had a wonderful time. 6th and 7th graders had their winter snowball dance on Friday, February 7th. Students had a wonderful time. They danced, played volleyball, and enjoyed yummy treats thanks to CMS Home and School and donations. Student Council is also planning an after-school bowling trip for 8th grade students on Monday, February 24th. CMS will be hosting a vaping awareness assembly, Don't Get Vaped in the cafeteria for our students on February 19th, 20th, and 21st to educate 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students on the dangers and consequences of vaping. This assembly is an important part of our ongoing efforts to promote student health and well-being. The PE department and the Student Council are teaming up for the Student vs. Staff Volley for Heart fundraiser this Thursday, February 20th. All proceeds will be donated to the American Heart Association. On Thursday, February 20th, our high school counselors will visit 8th grade world language classes to provide an overview of high school courses and freshman electives. To prepare students for this discussion, Sean Wilson has collaborated with department supervisors, directors, and teachers to create a video that offers an engaging overview of the opportunities and elective offerings available to incoming freshmen. This resource aims to help students make informed decisions about their course selections. The students will view this video prior to their meeting with the high school counselors. The Pirate players have been busy working on Beauty and the Beast Junior. The show dates are March 14th, 15th, 16th, 21st, and 22nd. The cast can't wait for the show to come together and are so excited to show everyone their hard work. CMS will be celebrating Read Across America on March 3rd to March 7th. We will have dress-up themes all week, reading competitions, interactive bulletin boards, and we will culminate the week with Drop Everything and Read, 25 for 25, 25 minutes for the year 2025. Lastly, thank you to everyone who donated to CMS Book Smiles Book Drive. Thanks to your generosity, we have collected over 2,500 books. Last week, 19 student athletes, Mr. Miley and Mrs. Melcher, had the chance to visit Booksmiles in Pennsauken, where they stored, packaged, and learned all how the books are getting into the hands of young readers in our community. Thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you to both of you for enlightening us on all the good things that are happening at our schools. We have no presentations tonight, so we're going to Section 8, correspondence to the board. Anyone have anything to share?
I had some correspondence just from parents reaching out. I had an email from a parent regarding special education information they requested, an email from a parent regarding an administrator, some conversations with parents regarding a couple policies that they'd like to see reviewed. One of them is 2431, and the other is 5756.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to Section 9, committee reports. We had one committee meeting this month, and that was the policy committee. Mr. Kenny, you have minutes for us?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. The Policy Legislation Committee met on February 4th at 3 p.m. via Google Meet. The committee reviewed the most recent policy alert issued by Strauss SMA, and many of the policies listed in this alert are on the agenda for adoption on first reading tonight. Those policies are listed under Agenda Item 14. The committee welcomed the high school athletic director, Mr. Wilkinson, who discussed both the NJSIAA mandated spectator code of conduct policy as well as a proposed policy regarding student photographers at games. The committee was supportive of this new policy. The committee briefly reviewed proposed changes to the district pediculosis policy. However, the committee referred the policy to the district nursing staff for more information. Finally, the committee spent time reviewing the proposed AI policy from Strauss SMA. As part of the policy, the need for an AI plan will be established along with an AI coordinator, and this policy was tabled for the next meeting. Right now, the next meeting for the Policy Legislative Committee is scheduled for March 3rd at 3 p.m. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kenny. Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 9, Item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Eileen Blackburn. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconera?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Moving on to Section 10, which is public comment. This is for board items only. Members of the public are reminded at this point that comments should be limited to items appearing on this meeting's agenda. There will be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only should raise their hand to indicate their wish to speak. When called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. With that said, do we have anyone wanting to comment on agenda items?
Seeing none.
Okay, so we will move on to Section 11, personnel, certified, non-certified. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. To Section 11, Letter A, seeking the board's approval for the following non-certified staff listed in the agenda under letters A through J. Again, those names are listed in the agenda. There are no transfers or consideration this evening. Under letter C, seeking the board's approval for items 1 through 6 as listed in the agenda. Under leaves of absences, there are 7 items listed in the agenda for the board's approval this evening. Teacher overload, seeking the board to approve the following teacher overages, and they are listed 2 items under number 1 in the agenda. There are no advancements on the salary guide. As for extra duty appointments under letter G, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 6 as listed in the agenda. Mentor teachers, 2 items for the board's consideration, listed under numbers 1 and 2 under letter H in the agenda. No student teachers this evening under letter J, seeking the board's approval for items 1 through 3 as listed in the agenda. And under letter K, tutors, seeking the board's approval on items 1 through 4 as listed in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Kate Blystein, can I have a motion to approve Section 11, personnel, items A through K?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Aye to everything except under personnel certified, non-certified, letter J, number 1A. I abstain.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 12, Curriculum and Instruction. Dr. Goldburn?
Thank you very much. Under number 12, letter A, requesting approval of the professional development requests that are attached. Under letter B, the field trip requests that are attached. Nothing under instructional materials or curriculum this month. Under letter E, the monthly HIB report as attached. And letter F, the monthly suspension report as attached. And those are the requests this month, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Now, Mr. Meeker, can I have a motion to approve Section 12, Curriculum and Instruction, items A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 I say aye to everything, except I abstain from item 12A, line 13.
Aye.
Aye for everything. I abstain for item 12A, line 1 and 14.
And I, with one abstention on item 12, line A, line 21. I got it out.
Did you?
Kind of. Joanna doesn't think so. Ms. Falconero, can I have a motion to approve section, we did that, I'm sorry. See, it really messed me up.
Yeah.
All right. Motion approved. We're moving on to section 13, special education. Mrs. Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under letter A, contracts, there are none. Under letter B, student placements, seeking the board to approve a tuition contract agreement for one student with Burlington County Special Services, the alternative school, from January 22nd until June 30th, 2025. Under letter C, consultant agreement, there are none. And that is it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Llewellyn. Ms. Eileen Blystein, can I have a motion to approve section 13, special ed, item B?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Kate Blystein. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Section 14 is policy. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. As Mr. Kenny reported earlier, we had a recent update from Strauss Esme with a policy alert. Many of those policies have made their way onto the board agenda for approval on first reading. Those policies are listed in the agenda, and those will advance to a second reading next board meeting. And certain policies, as the board was made aware, were also tabled, so we'll expect an additional group next month as well. So seeking the board's approval on the policies listed under section 14A.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve section 14, item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
I vote no on policy 9613 and yes to all the other policies.
Aye.
I vote no on P9613 and yes to everything else.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. All right, moving on to business and finance, section 15. Mrs. Wilkie.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section A, grants, that the board accepts the revised 24-25 funding statement for services under 192-193 is attached. Under Section B, finance, item number 1, that the board approves the semi-corrective action plan is attached. And item number 2, that the board approves the mileage reimbursement requests for staff members is attached. Item C, operations, for donations. That the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $1,295 from CHASA to New Albany School towards the Be Good Character Assembly. That the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $446 from CHASA to the New Albany School towards the second grade Philadelphia Zoo field trip. that the board accepts with appreciation the anonymous donation of $2,667.98 towards unpaid student lunch balances. And item D, that the board accepts with appreciation the donation of 4 guitars from the Burlington County Sheriff's Office to the Cinnaminson High School Music Program. Section D, contracts. Item 1A, request for proposal that the board authorizes the qualified purchasing agent to solicit proposals for annual professional services and extraordinary unspecifiable services. And B, that the board authorizes the qualified purchasing agent to solicit proposals for banking services. Item 2, that the board approves the receiving tuition contract between the Cinnaminson Board of Education and the Mount Laurel Board of Education as attached. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilkie. Mrs. Trempe, can I have a motion to approve Section 15, Business and Finance, items A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Eileen Blystein. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. We have no other business tonight?
I'd like to make a motion. To add policy 2431 to the agenda for it to be amended.
Second. If you heard me.
Okay. We will move the policy to, back to the policy committee for further.
Take a vote on that motion.
All right. We're going to take, just for clarity, can you explain what that policy 2431 is for the audience?
To allow homeschoolers to participate in athletics/activities.
Thank you. We're going to take a vote on whether or not to forward the motion.
Forward the policy to the agenda. That was the motion.
I'm sorry. Do we get to have discussion first, or do we?
So first of all, there's no policy for us to review to be able to vote on.
I'd like to add it to the agenda.
So the
when
motion is
we-
to add the policy to the agenda for the next policy meeting on
Yes.
March 3rd. So the vote would be to support that motion to add it to the agenda.
Okay.
To have it be added to the
To
policy.
the policy committee agenda.
committee, correct.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
So it would be a roll call vote.
Okay.
So is there, I'm sorry, is there an opportunity for discussion prior to the vote, or?
I will do comments and questions.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that we've had several people reach out to us. I agree with recommending that policy go to the review. It's a new board, it's a newly elected board. I know it was reviewed last year, but we've had several people from the town come to us and ask us to revisit that and make an amendment and allow homeschooling students to participate in athletics.
Okay. So we'll vote on sending that back to committee for further review. Okay. All right. So Ms. Blystein, Ms. Kate Blystein, can I have a motion to send this back to committee for further review?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Eileen Blystein. All right. Any additional comments or questions from the board?
What was that policy number?
2431. Okay. Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Are we doing all policies or just this specific policy?
Just this specific policy.
No.
Yes. Aye.
No.
Aye.
No.
So that's 4-4 tie. And with that, there is not a majority vote, so it would not advance to consideration at this time to the policy committee.
Okay. So according to Mr. Capello, because there is no majority on that at this point, it will not advance back to the policy committee for further discussion. Okay. All right, moving on to section 17, public comment on other items. Members of the public are reminded that this section is for public comments on any item, whether it appears on the agenda or not. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items, all members of the public wishing to speak should raise their hands to indicate their wish to speak. When called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Policy 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, the board will not publicly discuss or comment on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, or the attorney-client privilege. The board may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, all comments will be given appropriate consideration. Matters requiring follow-up will be referred to the superintendent for resolution. Also, please be aware that all board employees retain the right of privacy and shall retain all rights against defamation and slander according to the laws of New Jersey. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. And with that, do we have any members of the public wishing to speak?
Members of the board, Mr. Capella, student representatives, thanks for the opportunity for letting me speak. My name is Tom Barton. I am speaking to you tonight because on behalf of my wife, Linda
Excuse me, could
Kashishian,
you also give us your address, please?
1300 Morgan Avenue, Cinnaminson.
Thank you.
And the reason I'm speaking to you about Linda is because you may be hearing about her possible termination. Linda is a 55-year resident of Cinnaminson. She went through the Cinnaminson schools. She's worked in the school system as an aide, various schools for the last 10 years without incident. She loves children and would never hurt anybody. Linda was fired a couple months ago because she needed help with craft instructions, and sometimes she would forget people's names, the students' names, because in 2014, 2020, 2021, she suffered strokes, severe strokes. She only got her job back because we requested an accommodation, and if that accommodation wasn't granted, then we would have been forced to take other action under the ADA and under the NJLID. The incident in question involves the Memorial School SAC program. Linda is being accused of something. I don't know what, because I haven't been told. I don't know if a police report's been filed. I don't know if it's been reported to the DCPP. But I can tell you this, she did nothing to harm any child. And the specific incident in question has been totally overblown. It's been unfair. It's caused her a lot of heartache. And she was only concerned for the child's safety. She's provided a written statement to Mr. Capella. Mr. Capella is aware of the incident. By the way, the child in question has repeatedly called her stupid, has pulled her on her badge physically, has made fun of her facial features because of her disability, and she's reported these things to the staff and her colleagues to no avail. I'm going to skip the issue regarding the gymnasium and my feelings about the ratios in there and the number of students in there and the conditions in there. We've always been stigmatized, and vulnerable adults deserve protection too. So if the board or the school system decides to terminate her, they'll have damaged her reputation irreparably in the community where she's well known. She'll be prevented effectively from working ever again with children whom she loves, and she'll be devastated personally. I have some questions. I don't expect answers. But let me say this. The last thing that my wife and I want to do is to invoke some legal proceeding against the school system. She loves the school system. She doesn't want to do that. But I've asked for the attorney to call me to discuss it. I've asked to discuss it with Mr. Capella, but I understand because of the issues involved. He can't. I've asked for the video. I've asked for the DPPC report, DCPP report. I've asked for information. I've gotten none. And I want the board to be aware of that, because if you are considering this issue, I want you to know that there's another side to this story. And the questions I have is, did the child claim that she was hurt in any way?
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
That's your time, I'm sorry. Thank you.
You don't want to hear what I have to say?
Everybody has 4 minutes.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the time that I have. I had a couple other things to say, but apparently I'm the only person speaking. We have 30 minutes. I had asked for an extension of time. You won't give it to me? That's fine.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
Ashley Neal, 1012 Highland Avenue. I want you to know that I'm so sorry you weren't allowed to finish what you were saying. I myself have been up here many of times, pouring out my heart with emotion involved, and I too have been silenced and told to sit down and that it didn't matter. So I'm very sorry, and I have so much compassion and empathy for you right now. I would like to know if the Cinnaminson School District has a policy in place indicating what is and is not included in a special education student's pupil record. And I would like Mr. Capello for you to follow up with me on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Neal. I certainly will.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Dan Evans, 2172 Hemlock Lane. I'm getting up tonight to speak because I served on the board last year when policy number 2431 was brought up. And I need to clarify a few things for everyone on the board, especially the newer members. The original request that was put forth was for not only high school students to be able to participate in sports, but all students, all homeschool students from K through 12, to be able to participate in sports. Unfortunately, there is no sanction under the NJSIAA that really has guidelines for anyone outside of high school. The other interesting aspect that was not brought up was when the initial change in policy was requested, it was also a request for not just sports, but for all extracurricular activities. So I don't know if that's part of this new request. And again, it's something that you have to factor in going forward, because in my research that was done, the one thing that really stuck out to me is focusing on the safety and well-being of our students in district. And that's what a lot of people don't have to factor in. So please keep that in mind if you ever consider bringing that policy forward again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to comments from the board. Mr. Kenny?
Thank you. It's a long one, sorry. First off, the board would like to pass along our condolences to the family of Mr. Jim Hensel, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. Mr. Hensel was a beloved member of the facilities team and will be sorely missed. Congratulations in order to our New Albany and Rush students for celebrating their 100th day of school, to our senior athletes who are closing out their winter seasons, and to the Math League on a fantastic season. To the Pirates Cove, congratulations, Cinnaminson High School Student Store, who received school-based enterprise as mentioned in our report. Gold recertification status from Vice President of the SBE, Tabitha Brickley, who also earned the chapter gold recertification status. Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight, especially our 3 speakers. We appreciate your time. Thank you to everyone who assisted in opening of those 2 additional preschool classrooms. They're a wonderful addition to the district. Thank you for the donations from CHASA and Burlington County Sheriff's Office, as well as the anonymous donation for the unpaid lunch balances. They're greatly appreciated, truly impressive. Thank you, congratulations. Thank you again to all that made the Super Supper another success once again this year. Thank you to the 19 Cinnaminson Middle School student athletes who volunteered their time to assist with the Book Smiles Service Learning Project. Thank you to our high school and middle school student representatives. You always do a wonderful job. Thank you to all who came to the meeting tonight. We already did that one, sorry. Best wishes, Break a Leg high school and middle school performers. And I have a last minute from Mr. Capello. The district is hiring. The board is currently looking for additional bus aides. Keep an eye on your email for an upcoming advertisement. The next regularly scheduled meeting is on March 18th, 2025 at 7 p.m. right here in the middle school cafeteria. More information can be found on the district website. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are going to convene into executive session, but no business will be taken after our session tonight. So with that, Ms. Falconero, can I have a motion to convene into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're moving into executive session. Good night, folks.
Board members, we're going to go across the hall to the foods room.